What's going on, guys? I know it's been a while since my last video. I've been trying to sort a few things out, trying to get this podcast sorted out that we're going to start doing after Monday. Just trying to get all the logistics sides of it and who's coming on, what time we're doing it. Because I prefer to do it late at night, but the person I'm trying to do it with doesn't really stay up late at night. So it's just we're going to try and figure out when. I might do some late ones depending on how it goes. But I thought, after we streamed yesterday and we talked about, because we streamed a little and then we talked about mental health a little bit, and then it hit me. I was like, you know what, we can talk about today in video mental health side of not ghost hunting but experiencing the paranormal, because it doesn't really get talked about. And so I thought, you know what, we'll come on, make a video today about it, talk about it, have a little chat about it, make people aware that it's happening. And yeah, so I thought it'd be a good idea. If anyone's wondering what my shirt is, it's a Totoro shirt. Came the other day. It's kind of sweet. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So a lot of people misunderstand the paranormal side of being of having not mental health issues, but the aftermath of having experiences. And the biggest one is that people just don't believe that it's happened to people. So someone will come up and tell you a story, and whether it affects them stupidly or it's not, like, we automatically as a society just label them. So it's like, oh, you need to see a therapist, you've been to see this, you need to go see a doctor. Oh, and then like at the end of it, everyone just gets labelled as like, well, you're just crazy. And that's not the case, because it takes a while, especially if you have like a profound experience with the paranormal, and especially as a young age. Like, as you grow older, it's still bad coming off the aftermath as it, but it's easier to logically wrap your head around it when you come from like a child's point of view, and it's been happening since childhood, depending whether it's ghost, demon, shadow people, even people who claim to be abduction victims from like alien. Like, every time I'm saying we because I'm part of this conversation of being obviously having paranormal experiences and stuff. Mine was with demons. Mine was with one demon specifically, and I'll make a whole separate video on that. But so mine was bad enough, and Fidu's mine went on for 6 years before I managed to get hold of it, whereas other people's had like 30 years of it, and it just drains you. It's such a draining process, because no matter how much you try and drill it into somebody, no one believes you. There'll be an odd few people who believe you, and they can't help you, and you're stuck in this like mentality of, oh, what can I do now? No one believes me, and like you become defeated almost in the whole process. And it's hard, because sometimes, depending on the type of event that's happening, it's difficult to understand your encounter or whatever's happening to you unless you dive headfirst into it. And some people don't want to do that. Some people it affects so bad that they just don't want to do it. And like, people have took their own life. People are in mental institutes, and so on and so forth. People are living to this day now with the same things happening as their children, and all they want to do is, maybe not even, obviously everyone wants help, but maybe just talk to somebody, but no one ever wants to talk to them. So even like the most basic of encounters, so even coming off, let's take like ghost hunting. Even when coming off a paranormal investigation, if it was just a smooth investigation but yet little things happened, it's still draining. It's mentally draining coming out of it, especially if you formed some attachments to something, or you've had your energy used or something. It's draining. You feel the oppression side of it. You want to sleep, you want to forget about it. And that's just like the smallest ones. Now if you go, and now you've got attachments, which most people who deal with paranormal encounters on a daily basis, who don't go looking for them, who then move house essentially, but it's still following. They're dealing with an attachment, and that goes on for quite a while. There's steps you can do, but that's mentally draining. That's so heartbreaking to know that it's happening to someone, especially at a young age. Because I've been a been witness to a young girl who was adamant she was being haunted, but then her parents would just put like class it off as a imaginary friend. But the detail she gave about this ghost entity was so specific that my logical side of my brain was just like, that this girl's way too young to be, obviously not she's not too young to be smart, but to give this much detail for an imaginary friend. And then she grew up to treat it as such, because it didn't threaten her. There was no threat towards it, but because she didn't understand it and no one would help her or talk to her, and she got drilled into her head that this was an imaginary. She grew up accepting it and like associating it with that thing until it got worse and worse. When she obviously got older, it got worse and worse, and then now, obviously she got rid of it, but the damage is done. Like the memories of that period of time is just decimated. Anything else she can do in life, yeah, of course she can move on with her life. She can be happy, and it's all that. But memories are immortal. Like, it only takes one thing to trigger it, and then she's gonna remember it, and then be sad, and then she's gonna understand it. So it's such a difficult thing to do, and especially with all the platforms that we've got, especially like social media. We'll try that again. But we know everyone knows what the internet's like. Everyone likes to take the piss a little bit. Everyone likes to have a joke around. So trying to get to the serious ones, and then sometimes you have serious conversations which are helpful and which are understanding, and you can actually help each other. But you have to go out your way and search for these things. But even in these one things, there's so much of just unnecessary, useless stuff where people think they're going to help, but in theory they're going to make it worse. It's nice to listen, to have a chat. Everyone can just have a chat, but to be in a position to help someone who's gone through something traumatic is like it. You're better off talking to someone who knows or understands or has a similar idea of how that functions, because I've been around this before where people explain certain things to someone. It's like, oh well, this is just like it's I don't even how can I put it? So it's like oh, this is like so for depression and stuff, it's like it's just the mindset you're in and stuff. And it was like, and I'm not going to drop names, but this girl who always used to put it on her Instagram, and it's like, but it goes so much deeper than that. It's not. That's just you've literally based the whole aspect of depression on mindset. Never mind traumatic events, what's going on in your life now, memories. Like, there's so much more to it, but she just puts it out there, and that's what you tend to see in these paranormal health issues. After is just people not having a conversation, but offering guidance to something that is unknown, which is a good thing, because everyone, like, for things to get known or get into the spotlight, everyone has to have a view on it, and then you get together, you go through all your views, and you get through the bullshit ones, you get to the decent ones, and that's when you can make a theory, and then test your theory, and then try and prove it. That's alright, but when it comes to like the health side of things, and you've got people just chipping in because it's an interesting conversation, and it doesn't help. It makes it worse. It's not a thing you can actually do. It's quite an annoying thing. Like, I used to have it a lot, and I don't want to. See, I'm trying not to bring me into these conversations, because obviously I've done all this before, and it's so I don't. But I had a period of time where I lost a few friends. Like, 'cause you tell them the truth what was happening, and they look at you weird. So that was going through it. No one would help me, and it got to the point where I didn't even want to tell anybody. I didn't want to tell anybody what was going off, because I knew in my head that automatically I'm gonna get labelled as something that I'm not, and I'm logical, like I'm not just going off the rails and just being like, wow, I'm getting tormented by this demon or I'm getting tormented by a spirit. It was a logical progression to where I was now, but I still didn't want to tell anybody because I knew the outcome of it, and that's how everyone is. So that's when you tend to, if you go on like paranormal investigations, like to difficult locations and stuff, people tend to stay in their own little groups, and like they'll talk to other groups, like other investigation groups and stuff, but they'll never go into like a deep conversation because it's not acceptable to be having that effect on you, and then you being like okay with it and talking to someone, which is stupid. It's ridiculous because everyone should be able to talk about anything, no matter if it's something like you pretend to be a freaking, I don't know, like a dining table, or you hunt ghosts. They're both the unknown. Like, you should be able to get into it, and it's hard to see. And these are just like the small bits. Like, there's a lot of theories and missing people's cases dealing with like shadow people. So that gets on a whole different aspect. Whereas like now you're talking like we're getting oppression from dealing with like energy changes and things getting attached to us. Now if you're talking to like shadow people and that way, or even we'll talk about alien abduction after, but shadow, like there's parents to this day who don't know where the children are, and whether people say, oh well, they killed them or something, maybe that happens, you know what I mean, but these parents have got detailed description of their child seeing shadow people while they're sleeping, whether it's sleep insomnia, whether it's not, whether it's just from a paranormal side, or whether it's from sleep insomnia and it's stopped coming from the insomnia side and now it's just attached. They don't see their children again. They're still missing to this day. No one can explain where they are. Everyone has their theories and speculation. So that's the complete different side of like mental, I don't know, stability or like descent into some kind of madness, because you're missing your child, and it's not like it's another person who's done it, because then you can understand if you want some answers. Now you're talking about an unknown force removing your child from this plane of existence, and it transitions into abduction as well, like alien abduction, if we even want to go there. Like all these things have a corresponding mental health side of it, but no one ever wants to talk about it because I don't think people want to get judged on it. So it's kind of weird because it's not just like everyone has a different experience. Obviously, some of them are similar, but some are nice, some are pleasant, some are like warnings whether bad things are going to happen. Some give you nightmares, some torment you. You know what I mean? Then you've got some that are sexual, some that are just not even. It's like you're hallucinating, some like mad trippy stuff. Like there's such a broad aspect that no one wants to talk about it because let's take like the most awkward one, which is going to be like a sexual encounter from the paranormal side of it, whether it's just like getting like your leg caressed, or being like somewhat, I don't want to use the word assaulted because we're talking about the unknown and like a paranormal side, but similar to that is like people aren't going to listen to that. People are going to absolutely think you're bonkers if you sit down and you try and tell your story, unless it's like to another person who's been through not a similar thing but been through an encounter. No one's going to sit down and like listen to you and be willing to understand what you're talking about, because you're talking about a taboo subject. No one ever likes to talk about sex between two people, and now two, you're talking about sex between you an unknown entity, well, not the in the act of sex, but a sexual nature, and it doesn't get anywhere. And now they have to go on, never getting help, never getting answers, and it's ridiculous. And like this, so it just irritated me because I saw an article yesterday about it that it was just like, it was said kind of paranormal haunting cause a difference between like, well, the title was a kind of paranormal encounter. Well, the exact title was kind of paranormal encounter, like compare mental health and the norm. This is what pissed me off. Compare normal mental health to an unknown mental health. One, the title makes no fucking sense. Two, how are you comparing it? The same factors go into both sides of it. Like, it's just the origins of it, the story, where it began and how it happened is different. And I was reading it, and it was some dumb stuff where it's like, some of it's alright because it was like, like most TV shows you see for the paranormal, it's for entertainment, so it's sometimes it's over exaggerated. Like, there's certain things that are like push forward into the light because it's for TV, but they couldn't get off the TV thing, and it's not just fair. Like, this is why the paranormal field gets a bad rap, because everyone just bases it off the TV, like TV programs or certain YouTubers. I don't want to call certain YouTubers, but certain people on like social medias like YouTube and stuff who fake it just for views and stuff, which is kind of annoying. This is the issue. This is why no one ever wants to talk about it, because one's over exaggerated and one's not even real, but yeah, they've all got this like story, and it comes down to attention. Like, are you doing it for attention? Is that what you're doing it for? Like, if that's the case, why is someone who's going through the actual real thing now is even more not going to talk about it, because now people are just like, oh, you just want attention, and it's ridiculous. It's getting so out of hand, because they take, like, I've seen it personally. I've seen someone get physically attacked on an investigation and take at least 3 days to recover, because it's all mentally, it's not physical. They didn't want to do anything. They didn't want to go out. They didn't want to leave the lights off. It does something to you, and to witness. I witnessed a conversation the other day. And she might watch this video, I don't know, but I was talking to a girl about the experiences, and then what I've done, and then what she's done, and like, and not comparing, but like collaborating, being like, oh, I think I know how this you can change this, and then she was like, oh, I think I know I can change that, and like helping each other. And then after that post, someone else like jumped in and was just like, oh, I'm glad to know that I'm not alone. And then that started into something else. Them two were having a conversation now. So now I'm having a conversation with. Now she's taking what I'm saying to this other girl. This girl's taking her experience to this other one, and that's coming back to me. And we're three random strangers. Well, at that point we were three complete random strangers. And this is what it takes. It takes three people to have the same experience. And it's not everyone. Like, I've watched podcasts where everyone's legit, everyone's open about it, and everyone's having a deep conversation, which needs to happen. But it was random to see like three random people, or two. We started it because I commented on it. Like, she posted a picture that said something. I commented on it, being like, I used to see shadow people, but I don't anymore. And I might know a few ways to like help. And then that, obviously, then she replied with how long she'd seen them for and what age she was when she started seeing them. And it only took that for someone else to look at that picture, see the comments below, and be like, actually, these two are actually having somewhat of a normal conversation in the description of it. Because it wasn't anything like cheesy, it wasn't anything disrespectful. It was a full-blown normal conversation about these two things. And then I think that triggered something to make the other girl feel comfortable to jump in, and now she's enjoying it. And this is what it takes. It takes people to have a good, solid conversation. And this just for mental health, this just doesn't go for obviously paranormal. This goes for everything. Everyone should just have everyone should be able to have a normal, heart-to-heart conversation, like two random people, and be respectful for each other, and build something on it. Which you still don't see now in this day and age. Like, 'cause there's always people trying to be a bunch of dicks about it. So it's trying to find these right people. I think as naturally occurring it can happen is the best way, because then everyone lets their defenses down for a good split second. And if you're with respectful people, you don't have to put your defenses back up, because they're not there to judge you. Everyone's there to just be like, oh well, everyone can help each other. So that's why I started doing it with like paranormal investigating with the group of people I do, because it's everyone's gone through something, and it's fine to do it with people who haven't, but it's just easier to lower your defenses and be like, well, that because you're not going to get judged. You're not going to be like, well, you're crazy. Like, I don't believe in I don't believe in ghosts and shit, and like, you're crazy. You're all crazy. I don't like, and it's so it gets beyond the joke. That curtain keeps freaking me out because it keeps blowing open like that. I thought it was someone moving it, but it's because I've got my window open. Always, every time I talk about this paranormal stuff, something always like freaks me out a little bit. But no, it's becoming a bit like childish now, that just all these labels people want to give each other for something that, whether it has gone off or not, it's kind of annoying. It's boring. We're not getting anywhere in the world when we're doing it. So yeah, it needs to change, and especially like the paranormal side, like I said, because I probably like, I'm not gonna like chart statistics because I've not looked at them, but there's got to be there has to be a good chunk of people who are going through experiences day after day after day after day, who's not told a soul because they're way too afraid to get labelled something that they're not. And whether you believe in it or you don't, you've still not got the right to go up to that person and be like, well, you're crazy, or you're doing it for attention. It's just not how it is, because like I say, some of them have ended in tragedy. Some of them ended in people going crazy. So I know a lad, when I was 24, so I was just transitioning like out of I was still in cult life, but I was transitioning like to get ready to leave and stuff. Like a few days, like he burnt his house down because he thought his house was haunted, but it wasn't. The attachment was for him, like on him as a little kid, and it was just like these things happen, and then you think to yourself, well, if it like no one might have not been able to stop it, but if you just sit there for a second and think, if you're actually able to have just a normal conversation with someone, would someone have been able to help him? Like not solve the issue, but he might not have burnt his house down. It's that what if thing, isn't it? What if the world weren't full of a bunch of dickheads and everyone could just like have a normal conversation? So it just, you see it more and more, especially when you get like these, like, so it goes back to my first video about being paid paranormal investigations and stuff. You see it a lot in there. You see a lot of people just like looking at you weird and doing certain things that like are not okay. Like, you say something and they look at you crazy, or they're like, oh, I don't believe in none of this stuff, it's all useless, you're all weird and stuff, and you just think, well, what's the point? What's the point in being here? But two, you've got a right to call anybody crazy. Like, it's unknown. Like, people believe in it, people don't. Are you going to go to people who are religious? Obviously, like, I'm religious. Are you going to be like, no, you're fucking crazy? It still happens. Like I say, it happens everywhere, but you don't have the right to do so. If you don't believe in it, just say, oh, I don't believe in it. But you don't. You take an extra level and you make it worse for people because now you label them and you make their life so much harder because it's something you don't believe into it, and you needed to get your 2 cents across, but you didn't do it respectfully. You did it in some arsehole-ish way, and now you've made the situation worse. So it's just think about what you're saying, people, when it comes to like certain things, because obviously you don't know. No one's saying, oh well, you knew when you did it on purpose, but because you don't know these people. But then don't label them. Just have a normal conversation with them. Tell them or explain to them in a respectful way not why you don't believe them, why you just don't think something's real. But people don't. But that's all I'm saying on the matter for the paranormal side of it. It came to me because I just read, like I say, I read an article, and I've been having this conversation with this girl, and I was just like, you know what? It's kind of crazy how this actually happens, like, because we've had the best conversation for the past 3 weeks, hands down, the best conversation, and it's just like it's ridiculous. But that's it. I'm just going to say that on it. We'll probably talk about more on the podcast. Like, so it's just going to be a basic, well, not basic, but it's going to be based off of paranormal encounters, how things happen, like witchcraft, certain things like that. We'll talk about the effects it has on certain people, because like I say, everyone's different, and we'll see how it goes when we actually get around to doing it, which should be Monday, because Monday is the last day I've got anything booked in for things that can mess up the dates. So yeah, look forward for the podcast. You know what I mean? If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe. I might do something like in the next week or so, where I'm gonna try and get a group of paranormal investigators and put some gameplay up of us playing games. So it'd be something like paranormal, or like ghost hunters, when ghost hunters play video games or something. We'll try and do a series of it, of just, because most of us are gamers, but we don't really get enough time to do it at the minute, because I'm playing certain things, they're playing MMOs, a lot of them play WoW, and I'm sat casually just doing things. I need to journal, because that's most important at the minute, and then I'm playing games now and again. I'm doing YouTube, I stream a little bit, and now I'm starting a podcast. So I might do something like that. But like I say, if you enjoy the videos, leave a like, subscribe, comment. We're going to try and get as many guests as we can on the podcast, so feel free to drop some comments in, or hit me up on Twitter or Instagram. I'll put it in the description, and then you can message me if you want to be on it, and just tell me your side of like anything paranormal that's happened to you. Like, feel free to jump in and just chat away. I'm open for a good chat. I've got a few people who enjoy a good chat about the paranormal side of stuff. So if you've got an experience and you want some respectful and meaningful conversation, hit me up in the description, like on Instagram or Twitter, because that's where I'll probably see them most. But yeah, other than that, I will catch you on the next one, guys. Much love and peace.